Hello chess players, my name is Jonathan Rasberry and welcome to Rasberry Chess. We're going to be continuing the series Endgame Laboratory, but we're going to be focusing on Zugzwangs and triangulations. Last week, well actually it wasn't last week, it was a couple of weeks ago. I've been a little busy and I'm sorry about that, but we are going to be continuing with the theme that we had last video, which was on en passant, triangulation, Zugzwang, and division zugs. We learned exactly what they were. Today we're not going to be focusing on en passant because it's just a move, or division zugs, because they are again they're the in-between moves. They're more tactically related, not necessarily as in-game oriented as Zugzwang and triangulation are. So we're going to be just focusing on those two today. So let us delve into it. Make sure you stay tuned so you learn how to use triangulation and Zugzwang effectively. So we are going to first start off by looking, or at least focusing more on triangulation. Now, the two, triangulation and Zugzwang, are very, very similar. Triangulation is where you lose a move, and Zugzwang is when any move you make is a bad move. It's something that is going to deteriorate your position fairly badly. And so a lot of times people will moved in triangulation pattern to put their opponents in Zugzwang. Take, for instance, this position here. White's got 2 pawns to black's 1. And the point is, c6 is covered twice. So c6 is not necessarily the best move. However, I can tell you that c6 is possible in this situation. c6, pawn takes c6, and king c5, because black is in Zugzwang. Zugzwang, again, is when you can't make any good moves. In this case, he can't keep on to his pawn. However, he can play a little tricky. He can play king d8 and actually threaten to get into a drawn position with king takes e6, king c8, b7, king b8, king b6, stalemate. However, as soon as he plays king d8, you can go king to d6, and then as soon as you do that, king c8 leads to the same position, except he actually has to move, so he has to play something like c5, and then he can try to gain some opposition. Again, it's just not going to work, and you will be able to win the game very easily. So, you can do that. However, it's not the simplest. You can use triangulation to get what you want a lot faster. Obviously, you want to be able to play c6 and then be able to take on c6 and then escort your pawn off the board. It's as simple as that. So, how do you make it black's move? If it was his move, he'd be in Zugzwang and he'd have to back his king up or put his king to the side. So what you do is you play king to d4. Now, king d4 is the best. There's a couple other options, but king d4 is the best. And now he's going to play king c6. And then you play king c4. He's forced to go back, and you play king to d5. And now it's this position with black to move. Also, if he had tried after king d4, he could try something like king to e7. Point being now that king to, let's just say c6, and then king to d8, which is his plan. King d5, king d7 is all of a sudden you're in the same position with your move. So you can't do that. However, you could actually play, going back on king here, you can actually go with king to e5, and then after king d7, king d5. It's the only way to stop you from getting to the d6 square. And now he's, of course, forced to move over. So now king e7. c6, as simple as that. Pawn takes c6, pawn takes c6, king d8, and b7. You're winning. So that is a very simple explanation of triangulation and good example of triangulation and Zugzwang. Again, these two are very, very similar. That almost always you triangulate so that your opponent's in Zugzwang. It's either that or just so that you have a better position because it's your move. It's a very good example. Let me bring this up real quick. Move this out of your way. I'm going to switch positions. We're going to look at a new position, kind of a not exactly a triangulation or Zugzwang position, but it's kind of both almost. It's not actually Zugzwang or not actually triangulation. However, it is very interesting in the way that that this position presents triangulation and Zugzwang. It's the same idea, basically. And so here's the position. And so now if you look at the position, obviously black's threatening to queen. It's white to move. So you queen. It's as simple as that. Now, if black moves his king over...
I think this is a checkmate.
Did you hear that? He's like, I think this is a checkmate. Yeah, you're right. This is checkmate. Fritz has this cool new thing that it says checkmate in a weird way, which I didn't know happened until just a few minutes ago. So I love it. But yeah, that's the threat. All right, moving back. So he's gonna queen. Now the point is, if you take his queen, which is obviously what he wants you to do, you get stalemate. So what do? He's threatening to take your queen. You can't take his queen. Anywhere you move your queen, he'll just attack you again. Point being, he can't just check you. If we want to hear that cool guy again, after queen e5, king e7, the only legal move is king d8, and then
Checkmate.
Checkmate. Here we go. So that's the point. However, it's not actually that simple for black. The point is, you're going to try to get into this position with black's king on a1. You want to have the same position set up with your pieces, however, you want the king on a1. So here's what you do. You play king to queen to queen to g7. Just noticed that was a draw. Queen to g7. Alright, so now queen a2 is forced. Queen to g1 is basically the same. But what he's doing is he's attacking your queen. So now you've got to do something about that. Actually, my bad, it's not the same. If queen g1, you can just take it because the king has the a1 square to go to. So my bad. However, again, you can't take the queen because you'd be taking off this a1 square right here. And then black's king has no moves. So now you play queen to e8. He again goes queen a4. Again, if he plays check, or if he plays with the queen over to e2, then either you can take it and he won't be in stalemate, or you can move your king, unleashing the queen check, and then he'll have to block with the queen, and that's game. So now what you do is you play queen to e5. King moves over now to a8, and then queen to h8. And now it's mate in 3, no matter how you look at it. The point is now, you're in this position, except black's king has moved. You have basically forced black into a position of Zugzwang. Any move he makes is going to lose. So let's just say he goes with this queen a1 idea again, which of course is the point. If you take, I'll be in stalemate, right? Not the case anymore. Just take that queen, say thank you, and then
Checkmate.
Checkmate. It's as simple as that. Hopefully this is a little just a taste of what triangulation, losing the move, basically is. This is not exactly losing the move, but basically you tried to make black make an extra move, which in this case his only extra move is king a8. You lost the move, made him make a move without actually, losing your queen to queen takes queen in the original position here. Basically from this position you lost a move, without losing your queen. So it's kind of a little similar. But for this last position here, I want to look at one more position. We're going to look at position where this is truly triangulation, and truly, I guess not necessarily truly, this is where black messes up, thanks to triangulation. So let me set this position up for you real quickly. This is a little bit more complicated one here. So this is something that you're actually going to see in an endgame a lot. When you're up a pawn, which black is going to be in 1 second, as soon as I get all these pieces set up here. Alright, so the game is drawn. Simple as that. Black's just going to move back and forth, and any time that white moves back, he'll move back. And then as soon as white moves forward, he'll move back to this e3 square. I mean e6, e5 square, d5 square. I am not seeing things today. I'm sorry. This is just a long day. You've got king to you've got king on e5, but white decides to make things a little tricky. He plays king to e3. Black just plays king e6, totally normal, and then king d3. Now this is a little tricky. We're trying to lose the move. Now, if you're defending this position, you know that you don't want to lose the move, because going back to the original position, if it's your move, you have to move out of the way of the king, and then white gets to move his king. So, if you play king to e5 or king to c5, the king is going to move to either c4 or that's the 6th rank. I am not seeing things today. You can laugh at me if you want. Go ahead. Okay, good. Now stop laughing at me. King to e6 or c6 allows king to c5 or e5 respectively. However, it's white's to move, so he tries to lose the move. However, black doesn't let him lose the move. He's like, "No, I want it to be your move. You take your time. I'm not gonna let you let me give you stuff. I'm gonna let it still be your move. I'm just so kind." And then when you move sideways again, he's like, "Sure." And then you move back and you're in the same position, right? That's how to defend against triangulation. Triangulation doesn't always work. However, if black is not very careful, he may just go back. What the heck? I've still got a good position, and then boom. King has to move. King c5. Now the only way not to lose is d4, and the position is actually still drawn. However, it is much harder to draw. There's only one move. The move is king to d6, and then of course you can try to eventually play h5. In fact, you can do it immediately. He's forced to take. And then gotta go king e3, king d7. This is just computer moves right now that I'm generating for you. So clearly the game is still drawn. But the point was that white was able to make progress. All right. Now, of course, you could use the same logic here. Clearly, black messed up. Now the game is drawn, so don't offer him a draw. Test him one more time. If he goes king here, then king to h4, and the game's over with. See, that's the point. It's triangulation. But black, being smart, doesn't actually fall for that triangulation position. So when you move back, my bad. You go right back to g6. Got that square right. Go to g6, and it's a draw. So again, that's a really good example of being aware of triangulation and Zugzwang. So important to be able to know when your opponent is attempting to give you Zugzwang, and to know how to at least try to give your opponent Zugzwang position by using triangulation. So there you go. If your opponent is trying to use triangulation to put you in a position of Zugzwang, try to avoid that by basically triangulating with him. If he goes sideways, you go sideways. If he goes back, you go back. You know what I'm saying? So that's the basic idea. It doesn't always work, but when it does work, triangulation can be very pretty, and you can have some pretty Zugzwang positions as well. So there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and then stay tuned for next video, which we go over one of our games videos, which is the other series which I'm currently doing, which is going to be going over an entire game, and you'll be able to see lots of other cool, not just in-game techniques, which is what we've been doing. If you've been watching the in-game lab series, I also have an entire game where we look at games from levels between 12 and 2200 on games that we're playing, as I call it, our games, because it's our level of 12 to 2200. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Hopefully I'll be able to get it out next week. I am through with college for the most part for this semester at Troy. If you know, no, Troy, no, they're right there. I'm moving my hands back and forward. It makes it look like they're going up and down the wall. It's pretty cool. So there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, make sure you like, subscribe. Have a good day.